heard the laughter before I heard her words. A thin, brittle sound, like glass tapping against a sink. Too careful to be natural, too sharp to be harmless. I stood in the doorway, keys still in my hand, the weight of the day still clinging to my shoulders, when her voice slipped through the crack of the half-lit living room. Honestly, I told him I don't cook or clean because that's internalized misogyny. And he just accepts it, like he should be grateful to have me. A pause. Someone on the other end of the call snickered. And the best part, she continued, voice bright, proud, I'm making him pay off my credit card debt because he's the provider. That's literally what men are for. My chest tightened. Not with jealousy, not even anger, something colder. A quiet click in the machinery of my trust. She didn't know I was home, didn't know I was standing so close I could hear every syllable she thought she delivered into safety. The living room light flickered, a weak bulb she'd insisted I replace months ago but never touched herself. Her silhouette danced against the wall, sharp profile, self-satisfied smirk, the posture of someone who had already won a game the opponent didn't know he was playing. I swear I've trained him well, she whispered. Trained? Like I was a pet, a project, a paycheck. The call ended with one last brittle laugh. And when she stepped out into the hall and saw me standing there, she smiled as if the world was exactly as she wanted it. Hey, she said sweetly, you're home early. Her voice didn't shake. Mine didn't either. I just watched her walk past me, unaware that something fundamental had split, quietly and surgically. A fracture she wouldn't feel yet, but it was already spreading. It didn't start with that call, not really. That was just the moment I stopped pretending. The signs had been there, subtle, like fingerprints on glass. Missed alarms, canceled job applications she swore she submitted. A sudden obsession with soft life TikToks, women bragging about never lifting a finger while a man handled everything. She used to be different, or maybe I only believed she was. I ignored the early warnings, the expensive makeup hauls she dismissed as self-care necessities, the unopened cleaning supplies sitting exactly where I left them, the way she spoke about work like it was a cruelty invented to target her specifically. I loved her, or something like it, enough to rationalize, enough to bend. Then came the first real crack. One night, I found a message on her phone, not because I was looking, but because the screen lit up beside me. A chat with her friend. Girl, if he stops paying your bills, you can just leave. Plenty of men want to provide. Her reply? I know, but he's useful right now. Useful. The word hit me like ice water. And yet I didn't confront her, didn't rage, didn't demand explanations. Instead, I watched. Quietly, silently. That's how truth reveals itself. Never through noise, always through patterns. And the pattern was simple. She didn't see me. She saw what I could do for her. My home, my income, my time, my peace. But that night, the phone call, the proud confession, it made everything painfully clear. She wasn't using me accidentally. She was doing it deliberately, and she thought I'd never notice. People always get reckless with the things they believe they own. I began tracing the lines of her life the way a surgeon traces an incision. Quiet, careful, precise. First, the expenses. I reviewed my bank statements one by one. She didn't know I noticed the late-night food deliveries when I was asleep, the salon visits she labeled as emergency appointments, the makeup returns she purchased long after her card had maxed out, knowing mine would cover the difference. Then I checked the job applications she swore she'd sent, half-finished drafts, unsaved files, tabs left open for aesthetic, not ambition. Every detail was a needle stitching one truth. She never planned to work. Not now, not ever. But the real suspicion came later. A notification on her phone. A message preview. He still thinks you're worth all that? She deleted it fast, fast enough to show guilt, but slow enough for me to read the whole line. The next day, I checked our shared accounts. Her debts had climbed, not decreased, climbed. She wasn't paying anything down. She was adding to it, knowing I'd feel obligated to cover the damage. Piece by piece, I documented everything. Receipts, screenshots, phone logs. A paper trail she thought would vanish behind my generosity. But generosity has an expiration date, and hers had just run out. The truth didn't come with smoke or theatrics. It came in a white envelope. Her credit report, her spending habits, her accumulated debt, triple what she confessed. She had been lying long before the phone call, long before the excuses, long before the performative helplessness. I didn't confront her loudly, not even a raised eyebrow. I simply placed the envelope on the kitchen table. She walked in, yawning, scrolling her phone. "What's this?" she asked. "A summary," I replied. She opened it, her eyes scanning the pages, cheeks draining of color. You checked this without asking?" "I checked what I was paying for." She swallowed, hard. Guilt flickered, then quickly rearranged itself into indignation. "You're supposed to provide." "I did." Silence. A deep, heavy silence. The kind that suffocates excuses before they can breathe. She looked at me, eyes wide, suddenly aware that I already knew. Everything. Her debt, her manipulation, her plan. And worse, I wasn't arguing. I was done. She tried to speak, but the words tangled. "Wait, we can talk about this." I didn't mean. You meant exactly what you said. There was no anger in my voice, just truth. Cold, simple, final. I didn't shout, didn't slam doors, didn't give her the emotional explosion she was preparing for. I simply slid another envelope across the table. A notice to quit. 30 days. Her breath